You made me watch that old 1980s disaster movie.
Well, it give you food for thought on what could really happen. I mean, it was kind of old and low budget for its time, but it did make you think.
It did.
Hi, I'm Elmer.
And I'm Vanita.
I want to welcome you to our video in our channel today, where we discuss the top 3 disaster prep movies that we enjoyed. Of course, the one Vanita's talking about today is The Day After. It's an old ABC flick. You can find it on YouTube. It's about 2 hours long. It shows what can happen in an all-out full nuclear war. I mean, it's the worst case scenario. I mean, there's people getting... If you like explosions, you like action, this movie has it. But it does have a really sad ending. We're not going to get into it, but it just goes to show you not only the destruction that can happen, but the environment that you would have to live in afterward once the radiation dissipates to the point where you could actually go outside.
Yes.
You know, that was kind of sad ending, you know, when the guy did find what was left of his house. And, of course, you know, we watched that one last year. I think it was with Forrest Whitaker in it, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
The name of that movie was This Is How It Ends.
Yes.
One of the things that in that movie showed is how somebody that could not even be well prepared and somebody that's somewhat prepared could actually make it across the country. You know, in the movie, we're not going to give too many spoiler alerts in this, but in the movie, it was a father-in-law and a son that was going across the country to get his daughter. Of course, communications were down. It shows that some of the way people can be in small-town America where they actually shut that bridge down.
That is correct.
You know, and of course started shooting at the vehicle. But then it also goes to show you the side of friendship. He had a friend in the movie that lived in rural America that he ran into and hadn't seen in years, and she was actually able to give him food and shelter for a couple of days till they could, you know, till they could get on their way.
That's true. It makes you realize how people can react in emergency situations.
Right, and she was dealing with a crisis herself, not knowing whether her husband was coming home or not.
That's correct.
You know, so people even in disasters can help each other. But it's something to take notes in the end of this movie. You know, make notes about go bags. Make notes, you know, of if you do have to travel. You know, be prepared with that.
That's right.
But we can't top the one that we watched, though.
Oh, that's true. That was Leave This World Behind, starring Julia Roberts and Mahershala Ali. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Right. Now, this movie, we're going to kind of give you a little spoiler for the beginning of it. They were on vacation. Wonder why you took my preps. Okay. So, one of the things that happened in this movie was the navigation systems had went down, and this ship actually came ashore. You won't know it in the beginning of the movie, but they try to take videos of it coming on there. You know, one day you're sitting on a nice sunny beach. Next thing you know, this big oil tanker just kind of beaches itself on the shore. You know, so it was the beginning of the movie, and of course they wound up going back to their vacation home, and you know, it had generator power, but they had no communications.
That's correct. That was their biggest issue.
And, you know, one of the things is, you know, then the owner of the home came home, Lee, and there was some big trust issues. You know, you don't know what's going on in a disaster, and all of a sudden your vacation home's owner shows up. There's no proof that he owns the house because you can't look it up on the internet. So, you know, it's something to look at in that movie, to pay attention to.
That's true.
And take notes.
Yes, and really pay attention to Ali when he talks about who his friend is. Try to figure that one out. Right,
because, of course, the midst of the movie, and if you read some of the overviews, you'll find out that the communication system was hacked, satellite communications, and of course some of the self-driving cars in that movie were deciding to play bumper cars.
You're telling too much.
Well, I mean, it was in the reviews, so that's the reason I decided to go ahead and tell about that.
That's true, but you know, take a lot of notes, especially because the biggest issues in the movie was communication and also health. So you know, want to be sure Just take notes.
Right. You know, so one of the other things,
Uh-huh.
of course, is we keep talking about communications.
That's true.
Pay attention closely to the end of the movie. The reason being is when she flicks the light on, you will see actually a good plug for ham radio.
Mhm.
You know, it's a good plug. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll actually have to look it to find it out. But when they click the bunker lights on, and there, so you got to pay attention to that, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, and speaking of, you know, if you get in that movie and you get into a panic mode, maybe it's a time to, if you think of all three of them, maybe it's time to get your ham radio license. You know, I'm going to give a little shameless plug, as you said, I'm the one to talk to.
That's right.
You know, so one of my favorite reads we picked up today in Hamvention is Prepper Communications 2nd edition. You can find this on Amazon, but it gives a good option for people that may not have your ham license. Maybe you have older folks that don't want to get their ham license, but you could get a GMRS radio, teach them how to use it, and get a license for it. So it gives you options to be able to communicate with them, you know, to be able to get home, you know, or to make sure that they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it may not be like in the movie, and of course, we always have our trusty little ham radio. I think this is yours, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So, you know, one of the things that it may not be like in the movie, it may not be a worldwide incident. Take, for example, down in Dayton, Ohio, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I showed you that picture of that tower that got taken down?
Mm-hmm.
So it happened, long story short, it was a communication tower that was taken out by an EF3 tornado. It wasn't a big tornado, it wasn't a powerful one. It just, this tower was in the path of the tornado and took it down. Police, fire, and of course cellular didn't have any communications for what, about 4 or 5 days, I think it was. So just imagine, you don't have your cell phone, your police and fire don't have their dispatch radio, and of course they did put us ham radio operators down there to help.
That's true. And then there was an incident in a movie where they needed medication. So that really got me thinking about, you know, buying extra over-the-counter medication and, you know, storing it in the house for different incidents that may happen.
Right, and also if you're an outdoorsman like we are, you know, we hunt, we fish, we enjoy, you know, just being outdoors, is packing an IFAC kit, packing a first aid kit with a tourniquet and stuff,
Right.
because you never know, you know, you may have suffer an injury, such as in the This How the World Ends.
Right.
You know, he wound up getting a gunshot wound in the movie that could have probably been saved by a tourniquet.
You're telling too much.
Well, you know, the movie's been out for a while, so it's something to pay attention to and kind of correlate to.
Okay.
So, you know, one of the things too, you know, is having a survival kit. You know, having something where you can build a fire and shelter. You know, attack bivvy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stuff that you kind of laughed at me for taking on vacation, but now we see these movies and it's like, oh, you know.
Yeah. So be sure you watch the movies. You know, take notes about it. You know, think about it. What would you do in that situation? Also, you know, after you watch the movie, let us know what you think about it. You know, leave something in the comments and, you know, let us know.
Right. And, you know, as always, you know, kind of keep yourself prepared because, you know, like in the Fireplace Friday, we talked about the weather this past week. So, you know, always be prepared and, as always, stay healthy
and stay blessed.